What if the most beloved, kind faces on your television screen were actually the gatekeepers to a world so dark it makes the most twisted horror movies look like Sunday morning cartoons? For years, the name Terrence Howard was synonymous with empire and hustle and flow, but recently, he's taken on a much more dangerous role, the man who knows too much. In a series of explosive interviews that have sent shockwaves through the elite circles of Tinseltown, Howard didn't just hint at industry secrets, he named names. He specifically pointed to a circle of people extremely close to Ellen DeGeneres, claiming they didn't just want him out of a job, they wanted to ruin his life. It sounds like paranoia until you look at the timing. Terrence started talking about the pressures of the industry, the intense lifestyle, the constant surveillance, and the personal sacrifices required to stay at the top. He spoke about a short life for the creative side, hinting that stars like Heath Ledger or Philip Seymour Hoffman didn't just go too far on their own. They were pushed into an unhealthy space they couldn't recover from. But Terrence managed to walk away with his soul intact, and according to him, that makes him a target. He's talking about a spiritual energy that the industry tries to drain from you the moment you sign that first contract. But that wasn't even the most shocking part of his revelation.
You know, there's a short life in
Why do you think that is with the creative side?
Well, because losing out money, you got to take, you're going through so much to try and deal with life. You are literally, it's an unhealthy space. And so eventually you're going to go too far. You know, who knows what happened to Philip? Who knows what Heath had to do in order to get to where he was at? There's a lot of things that people do that end up sitting and they can't get over it. And they got to keep getting high, hoping to get it out of their head. You know, but when you lose your man card, that's the only thing I can think of. You lose your damn man card.
What is that? What do you mean by that?
You give up your ability, your right to being a man.
Terrence Howard introduced a concept that has since gone viral, the man card. According to him, a man in Hollywood doesn't just lose his career, he's forced to give up his right to be a man. He claims the industry is obsessed with fluidity, not out of progressiveness, but as a tool for control. If they can make you compromise your most core principles, they own you. Howard recalled a chilling series of interactions with music mogul Sean Combs, better known as Diddy. It started professionally. Diddy wanted acting lessons and help with his music, but when Terrence showed up, the vibe was instantly off.
A man don't take it, a man gives it. So when you give up that man card, you don't get that back.
Are you saying what I think you're saying?
No, I'm saying what I'm saying. You don't get that back. You come into this world as a man one time. You give up that right for anything, for fear of being hurt, fear of somebody doing something, for wanting to gain something. When you give up that man card right, you lose some spiritual energy that has always been pushing through. Like if a woman gives up her womanly right of being a mother and taking care of her family and do all those things, when you give up those things, but when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the Puffy Parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Got punked out and pimped out by some greater desire. You shouldn't have a greater desire than being a man. So I believe that's a big problem with a lot of the actors out there because they get fluid. And next thing you know, once you go fluid, it's gone.
Diddy wouldn't talk about scripts or chords. He would just sit there staring at Terrence with an intensity that felt predatory. His assistant eventually pulled him aside and whispered a warning that would change Terrence's perspective forever. Diddy wasn't interested in acting coaching. He was looking for a hangout that involved Terrence giving up that man card. Terrence's response? He threatened to knock a producer's head off if they ever looked at him like he was a woman again. He chose to lose business rather than bend over, literally or figuratively. He saw the people at the white parties, thinking there would never be consequences for what they were doing. But as the federal raids on Diddy's properties recently proved, the bill for those parties is finally coming due, and the names on the guest list are starting to sweat.
They can't get it out of their head. The things that they did, no matter how they did it, whether they were drunk or high or whatever, you gave up your man card. You need therapy. And that's the thing that hurts them the most. And so they end up on drugs, end up every way to try and get rid of any principles there are. And that's what the business does. And the women that trade their bodies to go and get the role, they get to the point where they have their Oscar, they have their money, but they don't have their dream. They don't have the soul that they started with. So it's like achieving don't mean anything. If I get all the Nobel Prizes from doing all of this, but in the process I have to trade out all of my integrity to do it so that they can stay in place, what benefit is that if I lose my integrity? You got to go in as a principal. And what we were brought in here as men. We produce 1,500 sperm per heartbeat for a reason, because the aggression is necessary. You don't trade that in, no matter what.
Did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
According to Howard, Diddy initially contacted him under professional circumstances. Howard claimed he was asked to help with acting and later to share some of his music. However, he said the meetings felt unusual because Diddy appeared more interested in spending time and taking advantage of him than discussing work.
What was the consequences when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, he wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to you. That's what my assistant said. And I was like, oh, okay. Now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you know to be hands off with somebody. A number of producers coming to make the approach, and you threaten to punch them in the mouth, or threaten to knock their head off, or talking to you or looking at you like you're a woman. When you approach a real man about his masculinity, you're going to get a real reaction back. It's a difference when a guy walks in a room and when a man walks into a room. And a man don't take the same things that a guy will accept. So always be the man in the room. And that's always been my whole thing, and have lost businesses because I don't bend over in that way. I don't compromise. I don't play gay roles. I don't kiss a man. I don't do that because the man card means everything.
Well, Diddy is currently the man in the hot seat. Terrence Howard's warning led digital investigators back to one of his most frequent public defenders, Ellen DeGeneres. On the surface, she was the be kind lady, but behind the scenes, she was Diddy's closest confidant for over 2 decades. Diddy appeared on her show over 20 times. In hindsight, those interviews are incredibly difficult to watch. In one particular clip with French Montana, Diddy appears to be in an altered state, yapping and gapping while Ellen laughs along, seemingly in on the joke. There's a strange comfort level there, the kind of comfort that only comes from knowing someone has your back, regardless of what happens behind closed doors. For years, Ellen was the date keeper. If you were on her couch, you were in. But if you crossed the circle, like Terrence Howard claims he did, the machinery of the industry turned against you. The be kind persona was a shield, but as the workplace allegations surfaced and her show collapsed, that shield shattered. People began to realize that the strange connections Ellen had weren't just friendships, they were alliances. And what happened next would shock even the most hardened skeptics.
I'm currently working on the Ellen DeGeneres deep dive, which has turned out to be like the mother of all deep dives. Had no idea what a beast this was going to be. But it should be very interesting because of just how many strange connections Ellen has in the entertainment industry with other celebrities. She is just very well connected. And one of Ellen's longtime friends is P. Diddy. And she has had P. Diddy on her show, I think like 21 times while she was on the air. They have been friends for years. And when I was looking through some old clips of P. Diddy appearing on the Ellen show, it's very, very evident that P. Diddy felt very comfortable around Ellen. He felt very comfortable to say certain things in hindsight that are massively incriminating, and just goes to show you how untouchable P. Diddy felt that he was, because everyone knew what he was doing. Everyone knew what kind of man P. Diddy was. I want to show you guys a couple clips from P. Diddy on the Ellen show that I found particularly interesting. This first one is when P. Diddy and French Montana both appeared on the Ellen show. From the clip I'm about to show you, it is pretty evident that P. Diddy is not sober while on the show, and there is an awkward interaction between French Montana and P. Diddy that was just very bold.
Whoa, boy, welcome to the show.
What's up, big brother?
I'm sorry, I had to pause that for a second because what was that? Why did he do that?
I mean, this is really a special relationship, so this is big for both of you, but how did you come together?
Love.
Okay.
Team
On a
love.
website, or like, what is that?
Man, check this out. We made it, man.
Yeah.
All the nights we talked about being on the couch together, we here. Look,
Yeah.
right now, being in the present. That's Ellen right there.
You know what I'm saying?
very uncomfortable to listen to. Do you guys know when you like have been to like a bar and there's just someone there who you can just tell has had one too many and is just yapping and gabbing and just not matching energy?
Just when you thought the story couldn't get any weirder.
Alongside discussions about Ellen, internet users have also resurfaced years-old social media posts made by model and television personality Chrissy Teigen, one of Ellen's closest friends, where she joked about eating human flesh.
The Epstein Files connections and Chrissy Teigen. First, let's talk about how in an interview she said she would eat.
If you were at a very fancy restaurant, a human, you wouldn't try a tiny bite? Really?
Absolutely not.
Is that terrible?
Let's not forget the tweets of her saying if you could eat this one bite of it, you could eat any other meat for the rest of your life. Or eat turkey forever, and she would choose. And watching the show Toddlers in Tears, she said, seeing little girls do this half, I just want to put myself in. She said, I'm going to jail over pizza. We all know what pizza is now. I'm bored, really want to watch Give Birth. I'm about to Anthony Weiner this kid. That is somebody who got in trouble for doing bad things with very young people. He just said the cleanest and best pleasure is to, with a water slide that goes through a shark tank, time to get mine on. I saw a baby that looked like a Ashy do anything kind of. Is this wrong to think? A little in the pageant now. Eye candy for me. She said, I like to add a pinch of baby powder to the flour when I fry chicken. So it smells like, just read the rest. Went to the children's aquarium looking like a PDF. In this interview, they asked her where's the best place that she did it. She said the best was the Obama thing and then got in trouble. She posted this of a swollen lip, claiming it to be pesticides from an orange. Epstein also got swollen lips. From consuming what exactly? She said it was just an orange, so probably just an orange. Putting her thumbs up at the Grammys because Nicki Minaj wasn't there. Nicki Minaj tells us she has an eggplant, allegedly. She also had pizza in her Snapchat name, posting things like this and this. Room service was too expensive, so she brought her own hot dogs to a hotel. Go look up what hot dog means. Deli Roll was talking about Jesus, and look at how annoyed she is. This was her face during the whole speech. She looked so mad.
What makes this worse is that Diddy isn't the only offender Ellen has allegedly been associated with. She has also been associated with Epstein. One theory that has gained attention claims that the set design of the Ellen DeGeneres show resembled certain structures photographed on Epstein's private island. Supporters of the theory argue that the similarities are too close to be accidental.
Did you see the Ellen DeGeneres set on her show was the same set as the Epstein Island?
Come on, you gotta relax. What we doing? What we doing?
Bro, check it.
Bro.
Look at it. Bro, the set.
What's going on?
Bro, it's crazy, bro.
So is Moana taking place on Epstein Island?
Bro, I don't know, bro.
What's Sebastian and Ariel on Epstein Island?
When you get a moment, go online and look at her set and look at the temple in the Epstein Island. They look the same. Oprah's name's outside now.
Yeah, but
about some school in Africa. Ellen DeGeneres just moved to England last year, and apparently she's escaped because started popping off. And
she moved because she said if he wins the electoral vote to become president again, she's bouncing.
Yeah, but why?
Well,
they had
a little back and forth because she was very anti him, and he don't play. You mentioned the name in a bad light, he's going straight.
Yeah, but you've got money. Why are you ducking? Why are you ducking?
Because we have bangers and mash, they don't.
Because there's files on you.
Oh yeah, there's that as well.
The release of the Jeffrey Epstein files was supposed to be the end of the mystery, but for many, it was only the beginning. Thousands of internet sleuths began combing through the emails, and one word popped up more than almost any other: pizza. Now, on its own, a billionaire ordering pizza isn't strange, but the frequency was.
I'm joined in the studio by Maya yet again. Maya, so the DOJ's massive dump of Epstein case files has turned some internet users into self-appointed digital sleuths. Online users are combing through emails, searching for hidden clues, and for some reason, they're now fixated on one word: pizza. Tell us why.
Well, to understand why, we need to go back to December 2016. A man called Edgar Madison Welch, 28, enters a place in Washington, D.C., a pizza place called Comet Ping Pong. This could have been a fairly common scene until he opened fire, fortunately without making any victims. Welch had driven all the way from North Carolina in order to self-investigate viral claims that were actually spreading online. He was convinced that there were children inside the restaurant, held, according to him, in the restaurant's basement, and that place was supposed to serve as some sort of headquarters to a satanic child ring with high-profile Democrats running it, including Hillary Clinton and her then campaign chairman, John Podesta, whose emails had just been released in WikiLeaks by WikiLeaks. And the owner of the restaurant was actually somebody who fundraised for Hillary Clinton, so he had some sort of links with her, but that was it. And that's why all the different theories started to be posted on this message board, political message board, 4chan. That was it. Pizzagate was born. Believers thought that there was some sort of evidence hiding in plain sight, that, for example, the word cheese, pizza, CP was code for child. And they thought that eventually, when Donald Trump was going to be the next president of the United States, he would reveal everything, he would expose the truth. But in fact, eventually, well, nothing happened. Why? For one, because Pizzagate was just a conspiracy theory. No credible evidence was ever found. Investigators obviously entered the restaurant, the pizza place in Washington, D.C. They didn't find any children hiding there, and especially in the basement, maybe because the restaurant had no basement to begin with.
Many believers thought that once Donald Trump became president, the alleged truth would be revealed. But that never happened, at least not then. In 2026, Donald Trump has released the Epstein files, and they are rife with mentions of pizza and beef jerky, seemingly using those words as code for something.
I wanted to let you know the crew really appreciated the pizza today. Thank you for letting us do that.
Oh, Roy and Stephanie. That's nice.
Thanks for letting us do that? You mean eat pizza? Of course, that's not what that means. Pizza is obviously a code word for something.
Oh, I wonder what it could be.
Here's another one. This is, we don't know who it's from, but it's to jevacation@gmail. So I'm going to guess maybe that's Jeffrey Epstein's vacation email. It says, this is better than Ilhan and Chinese cookies. See attached. Let's go for pizza and grape soda again. No one else can understand.
This is better than a Chinese cookie? Oh, just say Ilhan ends then, better than a Chinese cookie.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is better than a Chinese cookie. That's what that's supposed to say, but it says Ilhan. This is better than a Chinese cookie. Let's go for pizza and grape soda again. No one else can understand. So, of course, they had to make anybody who saw pizza, who caught on to this, they had to make them out to be crazy. Just like they made you out to be crazy if you questioned the vaccine during COVID. Just like they made you out to be crazy if you thought there were Nazis in Ukraine. Just like they made you out to be crazy if you questioned the Russiagate conspiracy theory pushed forward by the FBI, CIA, the Clinton campaign, and the establishment media. Just like they said you were crazy if you questioned what happened to Seth Rich, when they said he got in a botched robbery where they didn't take his watch, didn't take his wallet, didn't take his cell phone, didn't take anything. So they always, so if you noticed that they were talking about pizza as a code word for something, or grape soda, they made it out to be crazy.
Online users began searching through the documents for references to the word pizza. Some claimed the word appeared more than 900 times throughout the files, far more often than other food-related terms. To those internet sleuths, the frequency seemed suspicious.
As a dark, sick joke, one of the friends could just take a photo of pizza and grape soda as a joke, like, hey, you know,
that's right.
Ha ha ha.
Absolutely. So it doesn't prove anything other than if law enforcement was to start looking at this, they would look at that and go, well, it's literal. You need to, you're being crazy. Stop it. So, it benefits them to do those kinds of things, even if it is a reference to something else, because there's a photo of that immediately would negate a lot of the potential interest that law enforcement might have in something like that. So there are little things like that all of a sudden change the dynamic. Yeah.
And just, what's weird is just having so many emails talking about things like this, like beef jerky here. Another email subject is beef jerky. A small insulated bag would be just fine. I wouldn't recommend checking it. No need for crazy amounts of ice. One should do. The titles is beef jerky. High redacted. There's one bag of beef jerky in the fridge at 71st. Please get it. And also redacted has more at her place. Please get it from her as well. And bring it all with you. I suppose it needs to be in a cold insulated bag, right? Now, I'm not a cook. Just silly question. Beef jerky, do you need to put it in a cold insulated bag?
The whole point of having beef jerky is you can you never have to refrigerate it. Yeah.
Exactly my point. So you got beef jerky, he's telling him to put it in a cold insulated bag. And in the email prior saying no need for crazy amounts of ice. So you agree that it's just too many indicators that this is more than just food.
It's worth looking into for sure. Yes, like there are some that it's, The one thing I try to be careful with is I don't want to say every reference to beef jerky is something awful, because there's some people whose names aren't redacted. Maybe it's just an innocent email about beef jerky, but there certainly seems to be more to it, and it's definitely something that's worth exploring more for sure, especially the refrigerated part. That makes no sense for anybody who has any understanding of how food works whatsoever. So that is weird.
I agree.
The Wayfair conspiracy was one of the first times the code word theory hit the mainstream. People noticed that basic storage cabinets were being listed for $10,000, $12,000, or even $15,000. That's a lot for some particle board. But the real glitch in the matrix was the names. These expensive items were named after real people, specifically children who had recently gone missing. One cabinet was named after Crystal Ann Timmich, a 6-year-old who disappeared from her home in 1994.
If you are deep into the newly released files and you've heard about the Wayfair conspiracy, you probably want to hear this one. I'd like to bring attention to a little girl by the name of Crystal Ann Timmich, who went missing from her South Central Los Angeles home on June 30th of 1994. Now, if y'all remember the Wayfair conspiracy, if people call it conspiracy, several furniture items were listed for outrageous amounts of money, $7,000, $10,000, or more dollars. For cabinets and chairs, regular household items, things that normally would be under $1,000. Now, the creepy thing about it was a lot of these items had names attached to them. Now, Wayfair kind of brushed this off as a coincidence, but it's kind of recently come out that a certain particular man, J.E., had corresponding emails about Wayfair furniture. And the creepy thing is the exact amount was the same exact amount on these websites with the names of missing kids. Now, there was one particular purchase for $8,453. And that purchase was a name of a missing child with a cabinet. Now, Crystal Ann Timmich's cousin also was saying that her cousin had a $8,000 lamp in her name on Wayfair. What a creepy coincidence. Now, she decided to do her own investigating because the FBI remained this a cold case for years. Her idea was if she could connect the dots, she could possibly find out what would happen to Crystal. She decided to log into her Wayfair account using the credentials that she had already saved. Coming to find out, she was unable to log in. Now, the strange thing is it led her to another login page. This particular one calling her credentials invalid, although she had used them multiple other times and in recent times had not changed them.
The industry is confirming through its own panic that the stories are real. The code words, the secret parties, and the unhuman behavior aren't just myths. They are the foundation of a system that is finally being exposed to the light. Whether you believe every detail or not, one thing is certain: Hollywood will never be the same again. The only question left is, who will be the next person to break their silence and finish what Terrence Howard started? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Is Terrence crazy, or is he the only one telling the truth? Don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the shadows of the elite. We'll see you in the next one.
Why is it that every time a story is told about Ellen DeGeneres, it gets weirder and weirder? And why do I say that? Because there was a man who now claims that when he was a child, he was a guest on Ellen DeGeneres' show. And he claims to have seen her do some unhuman, scary, like robotic stuff. So the individual in question at the time was a child prodigy chess player. And as you can see, this is an image from the show he was on. He was a guest on the Ellen DeGeneres show. And the claim is that once he got off the set and went back to his dressing room, Ellen DeGeneres' door was open. He took a look in at the door. It was open enough that he could see inside. So he turned his head and he looked. And what he saw next really blew his mind. And his claim is that Ellen DeGeneres was eating a rotisserie chicken, similar to the ones you see behind me. Now, he alleges that what he saw next, she opened her mouth wide open, dislocated her jaw to fit the entire chicken in one bite. Let me repeat, his alleged claim is that she took a rotisserie chicken, opened her mouth wide, dislocated her jaw, and stuffed the entire chicken in her mouth and swallowed it in one shot, and then turned and looked directly at him. And then claims as she was staring at him, she made a hissing sound. He then proceeded to run to his dressing room and let his mother know what he just saw. His mother did not believe him. So my question to you is, do you believe what he said he saw?